There is a frustration that quietly haunts many men, a feeling that they have done everything right and still find themselves standing at the edge of something they cannot seem to enter. They have built careers, accumulated wealth, transformed their bodies, and cultivated impressive lifestyles. Yet when they sit across from a woman they genuinely desire, something is missing. The conversation feels hollow, the connection feels forced, and despite all the boxes they have checked, the door remains closed. It is a strange and bitter irony. A man can spend a decade building a life that society tells him will make him irresistible, only to realize that none of it, not the money, not the status, not the physique, guarantees access to a woman's heart. The problem is not that these things have no value. They do. The problem is that men mistake them for the destination when they are only signposts along the way. They become what one might call attraction proxies, things that are supposed to represent value but are not value itself. Men are not the only ones who fall for this illusion, but they are particularly susceptible to it. For men, attraction often works in a more linear way. If a woman is attractive enough, that is often enough. Most men will be willing to give her a chance based on that alone. But women operate differently. A man can be attractive, rich, interesting, and strong, and still hear those words that cut deeper than any rejection. "Well, what else you got?" It is not that women are ungrateful or impossible to please. It is that their attraction is not sparked by a checklist of accomplishments. It is sparked by something far more elusive, something that cannot be quantified or displayed. It is sparked by the way a man makes her feel. The car is a perfect example of this. A man can spend years saving for a sports car, convinced that it will finally make him impossible to ignore. He imagines women swooning, doors opening, attention flowing effortlessly in his direction. And then he drives it around for months and realizes that the only compliments he ever receives come from other men. Other men think the car is cool. Women, for the most part, barely notice. It is a humbling experience, and for many, a confusing one. The car was supposed to be a shortcut, a way to bypass the tedious work of building genuine connection. But shortcuts do not exist in the world of attraction. There are no cheat codes. There is only the long, patient work of learning to engage another person's emotions. This is where the frustration begins to set in. A man who has spent 10 or 15 years accumulating wealth or building an impressive physique has invested an enormous amount of time, energy, and discipline. He has earned the right to feel that he has done something significant. And in many ways, he has. But then he discovers that none of it exempts him from the work of seduction. He still has to get to know the woman. He still has to earn her trust. He still has to make her laugh. He still has to make her feel something. And for a man who is already exhausted from years of grinding, this can feel like an unbearable burden. It can feel like a betrayal. I have done all of this work, he thinks. I should not have to do more. But attraction does not care about fairness. It does not care about how hard a man has worked or how much he has sacrificed. It cares only about one thing: emotion. The Stoic philosophers understood this, though they did not speak in the language of modern dating. They spoke of the importance of inner virtue over external trappings. They warned against placing too much value on things that could be taken away: wealth, status, appearance. These things, they argued, are not truly ours. They are borrowed from fate. What is truly ours is our character, our ability to choose, our capacity for wisdom and self-mastery. And in the realm of attraction, this ancient wisdom holds true. A man who has built a fortune but neglected his character will find that his fortune cannot buy him the connection he craves. A man who has sculpted his body but neglected his soul will find that his physique cannot make her stay. The Stoic would say that a man must build himself from the inside out. He must cultivate the qualities that make him genuinely valuable, qualities like integrity, patience, emotional steadiness, and the ability to truly listen. These are not flashy. They do not make for good Instagram posts, but they are the foundation of lasting connection, and they are far more attractive than any sports car. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that there is a shortcut, that if you just get the right thing, you will finally be able to cut in line. But every man who has tried this eventually discovers that there is no line to cut. There is only the slow, patient work of becoming someone who can genuinely connect with another human being. Some men learn this the hard way. Some spend years chasing proxies, only to find themselves empty-handed. But there are others, men who do not have the money, the status, or the physique, who seem to have no trouble attracting women. The failed musician living in his parents' basement who somehow has a harem of women. The man with 3 convictions and 4 baby mamas who is getting blown up on his phone by a dozen women a day. These men are not anomalies. They are proof that the proxies are not the point. What these men have, despite their lack of conventional success, is the ability to engage a woman's emotions. They know how to make her feel something. They know how to make her laugh, how to make her curious, how to make her feel seen. They are masters of the very thing that the wealthy, successful man has neglected. This is a difficult pill to swallow. It means that all the years spent building wealth and status were not wasted, but they were not the work. They were preparation. They were a foundation. But the real work, the work of seduction, is something else entirely. It is the work of learning to talk to women in a way that makes them feel alive. It is the work of learning to engage their emotions, to create tension, to build desire. It is the work of becoming someone who does not just have a list of impressive attributes, but someone who is genuinely interesting to be around. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wrote that we should not seek to have events happen as we wish, but to wish them to happen as they do happen. This is a profound reframe for the man who has been chasing proxies. He can wish that his wealth or his physique would make women flock to him, but that is not how the world works. The Stoic path is to accept that reality and then to adapt accordingly. To become the kind of man who does not need to rely on proxies because he has something far more valuable, the ability to connect on a human level. The good news is that this work, the work of learning to talk to women and engage their emotions, can be done much faster than a decade. It does not require 15 years of grinding. It requires a shift in mindset. It requires a willingness to see women not as prizes to be won, but as people to be connected with. It requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to be present, to be curious. These are skills that can be learned. They are not innate. They are not genetic. They are the result of practice and intention. A man can begin today, not by buying a new car or a new suit, but by changing the way he approaches conversations. By learning to listen more and speak less, by learning to be genuinely curious about another person, by learning to create moments of connection rather than just ticking boxes on a checklist. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote that a wise man is content with himself. Be the man who does not need anyone, yet is wanted by everyone because of his presence. This is the goal. Not to become the man who has everything, but to become the man who does not need anything, because he is already complete. And in that completeness, he becomes magnetic. When a man is content with himself, he does not need to perform. He does not need to impress. He does not need to chase proxies. He simply is. And that simplicity is what draws people to him. The failed musician in his parents' basement may not have money or status, but he has something else. He has the ability to make women feel something. He has the ability to engage their emotions. He is present, he is curious, he is unafraid of rejection. And that is a power that no amount of money can buy. The wealthy businessman, by contrast, has spent so much time building his empire that he has forgotten how to be human. He has forgotten how to connect. He has forgotten how to make someone feel seen. And when he sits across from a woman, he is not offering her a connection. He is offering her a resume. And a resume is not seductive. A resume is a list of accomplishments. A connection is a shared experience. One is cold, the other is alive. There is a reason many successful men struggle in relationships. It is not because they are not good enough. It is because they are trying to win at a game that cannot be won with the tools they are using. They are trying to buy something that cannot be bought. They are trying to earn something that can only be given freely. The Stoic would say that the solution is not to abandon ambition or to stop building. These things are good. They are worthwhile. But they must be built for their own sake, not as a means to an end. A man should build wealth because wealth gives him freedom. He should build his body because strength gives him health. He should build his mind because wisdom gives him clarity. But he should not build these things to impress women. They will not work. The only thing that will work is the thing that cannot be built, but only cultivated, the capacity to connect, to listen, to be present, to make another person feel alive. This is the true work of attraction. Everything else is just a distraction. If you are a man who has been chasing proxies, if you have been waiting for the day when you finally have enough, when you finally look good enough, when you finally have the right car or the right job, it is time to wake up. That day will never come. There will always be one more thing to acquire. There will always be one more checkbox to tick. But the women you desire are not waiting for you to finish your checklist. They are waiting for you to show up. They are waiting for you to be present. They are waiting for you to make them feel something. And you can do that today. You do not need a sports car. You do not need a six-figure salary. You just need to be willing to engage. You just need to be willing to listen. You just need to be willing to take the risk of being real. That is the only shortcut that actually works. And it is available to every man right now, in this moment. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When you stop thinking about attraction as something you acquire and start thinking about it as something you create, everything changes. You stop chasing proxies. You start building connection. And in that shift, you become the kind of man that women naturally gravitate toward. If this video gave you a new way to think about attraction, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe and turn on notifications. And share this with a man who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below and let me know, what's one proxy you've been chasing that you're ready to let go of? I read every single one. Stay grounded, stay present, and I will see you right here in the next one.